Well, hello again, everybody. It's Angela with Real Life Access, and welcome to another episode of Confessions of a Blind Girl. Have we had any of those? Well, if we haven't, this is the first in the series. So, one of the problems that blind people and people with other disabilities as well have is with managing first impressions. You know, that first impression, that snap judgment that we all make about people that determines whether we give them a seat at the table or ignore them or make fun of them. People with disabilities sometimes have a problem managing that. And I'll give you a perfect example. A couple of weeks ago, well, let me take a step back. A couple months ago, I had a branded virtual background made to get my logo out there, get my brand out there, and give you sighted people that association between me and the logo and the brand, and also to make my my visual appearance more consistent. For one thing, you don't have to see the messy room, and for two, it's the same every time I do an interview or a YouTube video. I know that my visual background is gonna look good. Until recently, when I found out that the virtual background somehow interacts with Zoom to make my head look weird. In fact, somebody said I look like an alien. Something to do with when my head moves, it interacts with the virtual background a certain way. Um, I don't know how it works, but the point is it's visually distracting for people. So what am I gonna do about this? I mean, this is weird. I've never heard anything like this before. Um, but in talking to my son, who is something of an amateur filmmaker, it turns out it's a lighting issue, which may or may not be solved by turning the light on. We'll see. Um, so I'm working toward fixing the problem. Um, in the meantime, it's equal parts comical and annoying. But what if I hadn't been told? What if I hadn't known? What if people had looked at Alien Head and said, "Oh, we can't say anything. We don't want to hurt the blind girl's feelings. It's too awkward." Well, then I would have continued being Alien Head in blissful ignorance of my alien headedness. And regardless of how articulate I was, regardless of how brilliant my advice, I still would have been known as the blind girl with the alien head. So, my message here is twofold. One, if you see something like that, if you see somebody with a disability doing something or presenting in such a way that's odd or abnormal, you know, suspend judgment. We may not even be aware that there's a problem. You know, give us a chance to let you see parts of ourselves that go beyond alien head. But second of all, if you're comfortable, and nobody, not everybody's going to do this. You have to have that kind of a relationship with anybody. But if you have that kind of a relationship, make us aware of the problem without judgment, without shame, normalize it, but also let us know there's a problem. Like the alien head, that it happens apparently with Zoom backgrounds sometimes. It's not just me. It's happened to other people too. Um, so the idea is to give us the tools to control the problem. And if we're not aware of the problem, we can't control the problem. And this is anything from visual presentation oddities to, sometimes people with disabilities do quirky things um, out of habit. And, we learn to turn them off in professional settings, and then we can let our guard down and turn it back on when nobody's looking. Um, but the idea is that we are able to manage whatever the thing is. So to that end, let us know when we get it right. If I'm not being alien head right now, you know, if I know that, then the thing that I'm doing, the things that I put in place to mitigate the problem are working. If I am being alien head right now, then you probably just see my logo because the producer probably dealt with it. But let us know when we get it right. For us, if we don't have that immediate feedback, and when you're on Zoom, you can supposedly you can see yourself sometimes. So if you're presenting in a way that isn't good, you can adjust it on the fly. But we don't have that opportunity, obviously, as blind people, we can't see. So the idea is to find a formula that works and keep applying that formula like a math equation, right? You have no idea why that math equation works. You do, but you know that if you keep applying it and you keep applying it correctly, you get a good grade on the test, which for most of us, it's the point. So impression management for people with disabilities is complicated. It's more complicated oftentimes for people with disabilities than those without. It's annoying um, when we find out that we did something that we weren't aware of and we can't go back in time and fix it. Um, but impression management is definitely doable. It takes work. It's doable and it's also necessary. So, again, make us aware of the problem and help us find solutions. Help us figure out how to how to solve this. I thought I had to upgrade my computer. But Jefferson's like, no, you don't. You just need to, make sure you have adequate lighting. Which is to say, remember to turn the darn light on. So that's that. That is Confessions of a Blind Girl. Hopefully you got something out of it. Like this, subscribe to it, yada 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 yada. And I will see ya later.